What is up? Woo! Oh, a little bit in the morning. I need to drink some agua. One moment. Uno momento, por favor. Gracias. All right. Welcome to the Deep Russian House Music. We are here to make podcast material about software. Okay. All right. Enough messing around, folks. So, recording episode 6. Let's just dive straight into today's episode of what it's going to be about. Last night I recorded episode 5, and then after we kind of wanted to build the task card component and of the task manager application, and we ran into kind of some success with querying data on the front end. And we also ran into some issues around CSS. So I looked into it, and it was to do with my folder structure, but I've since fixed it, as you can see, or at least fixed some of it. So I think this is still having some layout issues. It is the actual Kanban page itself. So from yesterday, you might notice I've restructured some of the layout. I took out the SRC folder, don't want it. I just have the app folder. We have our layouts and pages. So it turns out with all that Nuxt rant that I am the one who needed to learn a little bit more about Next, which is okay with me. You know what I mean? I'm okay to be wrong. But hopefully not too often, right? So we built the Kanban page. I'm going to rename some of this stuff and get the casing all proper. We're going to figure out how we want to do this. Just go ahead and do that now, actually. And we'll just call it Kanban because it's already in the pages folder. So this should work. I got coffee in the background and it smells really good. It's brewing. Got a little water too. So dialed in for this episode, but I fixed some of the layout issue. And again, how I did that, I just wanted to talk about it. I had to restructure it was simple fix. And I always have that phrase, it's some dumb S word. It's always it's something simple, right? So it was just my Tailwind config needed to have the /pages directory with all these, include all folders, include all files that end in .js or .ts or .jsx or tsx or mdx. So I just had to add these and the components one. Because if you remember from yesterday, this had an SRC folder and these were nested in the SRC folder, both of them. So yeah, it was no good. Obviously, we don't want to do that. Or excuse me, the SRC folder had apps in it, or the app folder had it backwards. Not this nested in this. It was actually the app folder, I believe, was nested in SRC. One of the two. But the point is it was nested, and that's why it wasn't working. It just didn't have the path laid out in the Tailwind config, because this was /src, all the files and all the folders. So again, real simple issue, real simple fix. And the great news is we do have, let's go ahead and do this now. I'm going to go to the task store. I did want to figure that out. There was 2 things I wanted to do from yesterday. Where was it? So if I go to stores, it's just task, I believe. We'll say background gray 900 just to give us some context. See if we're still querying these tasks on the front end, which I don't know if we are or aren't, because we definitely aren't, because the server is not up. But oh my, is it? That feels so good. Okay, so the thing to remember is it's always some silly thing. Like I feel like majority of the time in software engineering or development, it's always something dumb. Is what I always say, because I think the natural thing is like, oh, like I broke my application. Oh shoot, it's like something huge or something. But the reality is like oftentimes it could just be something so silly and not that difficult, maybe. Hopefully, right? Like maybe other times we'll find out that it actually is something pretty difficult and abstract. But these were like just configuration issues. Me dealing with like routing that I was unfamiliar with. Turns out it is exactly like Nuxt, or Nuxt is exactly like Next, which probably makes more sense on how that happened. But yeah, so it's always something dumb is the point. It's always something dumb. So we still have our individual task page, or at least our task endpoint that we can query individual tasks. So good to know that that's working. And we have our Kanban page now. So I'll probably build the navigation for a little bit of this as well. Before I get ahead of myself, let's take a step back and plan what do we want to get done today. I think roughly structuring out that task card component would be awesome, being that we now have the data, the UI is back, fix the bug a little bit, and yeah, so if we could query the data, that would be awesome. I think the natural thing that comes with that is obviously the store situation from yesterday. I wanted to make it this easy peasy task, basically a normal React file or Next file in this case, where you could just export the state and the functions. Because doing that literally, I don't know, it just seems like it'd be so easy. So I'm going to try to figure that out one more time, I guess. That's probably a good place to start. If I can just do task right here and get task. And then of course we're going to have an error because this is no longer like this. We need to, and I can't export default. It's not a component. So say colon store equals, I don't think I need to do that. I think I just need to invoke it if it's going to work. And then I could say store get task. And we'll throw this in our trusty intern. See how he deals with it, because maybe I did need to map through with it all. Maybe that was part of the error as well yesterday. So if I go task and say task ID, let's check it out. Let's see if that'll do something. So it turns out to be, that's just, I was tired yesterday, folks. Okay. But before you run down me, I was tired, folks. I didn't realize you could do this as well. But this is awesome. This is literally awesome, because if I can use this as a store, instead of having to set up my reducers and state and data, this is my initial state, nothing, right? Like, and here's my reducer, right? Like, I'm pumped. I know it's a little bit of a, hey, putting the flaws on display. You know what I mean? But hey, I'm human. It's gonna happen. So that's not a problem though. I think that's part of what this is all about, is learning literally in front of you guys, and there's some learning going on, right? Like that's something I didn't know I could do. Boom, look at that. So basically what I have going on is using this JSX file, or TSX file rather, as that store, and I'm going to just go ahead and delete task store. Don't even care for it anymore. Hopefully I can avoid using it altogether, because again, something where, like, I don't want to be actually, what is it named? Task store. It is named task store, so I'll use task store. I guess that's fine. But I don't want it to be this thing where I'm overcomplicating the app. And the reason for that is the lighter weight that I can make an application, the better, right? Like if I can avoid using some deprecated legacy library or code, and we might have to, I'm not sure, but to me it just seems like what a better way to produce software. Why would we choose the harder route? Why would we choose the harder thing? If assuming both routes again get the thing done, with the same value, right? Like if I'm using this task store and basically I'm just using it as like getters and setters, like this should be completely adequate. Now I understand if there's some like async timeouts or other things we need to do in Redux, then we'll have to possibly consider that, right? I'm happy to cross the bridge if we need to, but in fashion of taking smarter decisions, that seems like a smarter decision to me. Just being completely transparent. Like, why overcomplicate it? And then if I need to build a function called get task, right? I'll just pop it in here and I'll say task ID. I believe we did number. And let me get rid of this console log. And boom. And I'll take this function, task ID. I won't have set tasks. It'll be set task. And it won't be an array. It'll be just task type. And tasks plus, I believe we have task ID to access our task endpoint, right? Is that what we did? So we got our home for the data, we have task, and we can say 1, right? So there's our first task. And now we can go fetch that. And I'll show you guys that working now, hopefully, right? Let me get rid of this console log here, console log here. Actually, I'll just keep that one to show for now. So I can now fetch task because I'm invoking the store. Maybe I won't say store, maybe I'll say task store. Task store, just to keep our naming somewhat strong, right? And I can now say, so there's mapped tasks, meant to say tasks at the end there. I could say now const single task, right? Or something like that. And what would we use this for, this single task? It depends. We might need to fetch a single task at some point. Task store, and I could say just task, right? But I would also need to fetch the single task. So maybe we would have like I said, maybe earlier on, I think it was episode 2 or 3 maybe, when I said you can click on a task, like a modal would pop up and we can like edit the task or something. That's probably where I would use this endpoint. But if I already have the task, maybe I wouldn't. So I don't know, but I'll figure out a place where it needs to be used, and I'm just kind of understanding. Hopefully I'm not building something we're never going to use, but I really do think it's going to be something we'll need. So let's just pass in hardcode ID 1, and I'll say single task, excuse me, that, and this will be single task right here. And let me put a line break. Also, guys, complete side note, I have my software engineering course, and it's a great course. Please check it out. It's in the description below, and it's going to be me just going over things I've learned, kind of that experience I had as a software engineer at an enterprise company. I think was important. Oh, you know what I do need to do? Is do use effect. I'm seeing the console just running through one after another of these, which we don't want. We just want it to fire off one time. Okay, sweet. So that solved that issue. And I don't think we need these as objects anymore. I think this will just do it itself, just like that. Okay, so use effect is just loading on page load. We're getting an Axios error and a key prop error. Key prop error is just going to be that simple. How does the DOM know which task this is? It just needs some sort of index or some sort of key associated to it. So that should do it. Let's see, this is not fully working. So we're getting an error of 404 not found, and it's because I'm missing a backslash here, I believe. So we should, boom, task fix pop up. Which task do I want? Number 1. If I say number 2, bug fixed 103, perfect, it's working, guys. Just like that, we got a little bit of data and it's working. It's working great. So, but yeah, I would go ahead and at least consider the software engineering course. Obviously, this is a lot of, let's see, task ID, boom. There's going to be a lot of overlapping content here. It's just the software course is just a lot more curated, and this is more of that longer form kind of just free-flowing type thing where the engineering program is designed to it's designed for value, right? Like it's designed to be like, well, here is everything that I understand as a software engineer and what I think is going to increase the most value quickly for people. And certainly on the front end, I'm a strong front end software engineer, and I'm honing in the back end skills currently, where I'm, just taking more programs myself, talking with other engineers that are back end engineers that I know from literally FANG companies and ex-enterprise friends that I used to work with. There's one guy who's just really talented and really smart. So with all of this knowledge that I'm kind of trying to curate and build and develop, I know I kind of have this like loosey-goosey mindset, but hopefully you can see that there actually is some skill here when you see how I'm constructing things or architecting things or going from the front to back end stack. Hopefully I've impressed 1 or 2 people, right? I do have, like, I'm trying to be more humble without being arrogant and saying like, oh, well, I know it all, I'm the best person in the world. But I really do feel like there's going to be a lot of content in there that can help individuals. If for instance, you haven't had the opportunity to work in a strong, like, enterprise level position, at least when you talk about React and Node or maybe a Vue, like just a JavaScript front end framework and maybe server side rendering and stuff like that. It's a really dominant course, and it's something I wish I had before getting my first couple jobs, right? Where I didn't know how to structure things, I didn't know how to do stuff, and that course is kind of the solution for it. So it's linked in the description below. I hope it's valuable for somebody, because I've definitely been super grateful to have had the opportunities with other software engineers who have made courses, and I've taken those courses, and it's literally helped the trajectory of my career and expedited things and taught me a lot of stuff, and it just shortened my timeline and shaved off like years of learning, because you're getting to the kind of like the gold and maybe the harder stuff at times. And I do want to say it humbly, because like there's definitely stuff I still need to tackle and learn and become really competent and dominant in. But the idea is I am, you know what I mean? The idea is I'm working forward. I'm pushing myself. I'm trying new things, and I expect myself to be a top performer, especially if I'm putting out content and building these courses and stuff like that. Like it is something where over time, maybe like episode 2, maybe I'm okay. You know what I mean? Maybe I'm a solid engineer, right? But by episode 200, like I want it to be where I'm just that guy. You know what I mean? Where it's like, okay, a ton of people have commented on stuff. They said, hey, do this better, try this. Hey, I learned this thing, and I'm reading the comments and like picking up little tricks and tips, and obviously bouncing off other software engineers, other software engineering programs, and just like building my own skill set and building my own abilities. And like I said, you know, by hopefully episode 200, like we're building. Hopefully, we're done with this task manager build, and maybe we're on to the next thing, right? Like I have so many ideas in my phone where it's just like idea after idea, and I said that previously in another episode as well, but there's so many that like I just want to build. There's some blockchain applications I really want to build. There's some machine learning applications I want to build, and reason for it is, you know, I've had these ideas that like they can only pretty much happen, at least the blockchain application that I want, and I'm literally testing it out in real life, in person now, to see if it's going to work. Because I do think it's a great idea. I literally think it's something that can help the world, at least a smidge. You know what I mean? And that's all this is about, is just helping the world a smidge. You know, and each day, if you could help the world just another smidge, then you've helped the world a smudge. You know, and that's, in my brain, what gives me a very fulfilling existence. So, yeah, but that's a bigger meta talk. But the point I'm trying to make is there's just a lot of stuff I want to build, and there's a lot of stuff that I want to kind of curate for, and yeah, I think. Side note: the other reason why I didn't want to get into machine learning was because everybody's doing it right now, and that's just like the worst time to get into something, is when everybody's kind of doing it. But the thing that really sucked me into it was like I had so much fun building it. Just excuse me, but I genuinely did have a great time just building all of this like stuff. You know, it was so much fun. It really was a great time. And the machine learning applications I built are just like tiny, like really introductory stuff. Like the TensorFlow body recognition thing is maybe a intro to mid kind of build, I guess, maybe. But the AI car was like an intro thing, and I just had a really fun time. Like it was so enjoyable, and I don't know. That's like why I did software engineering to begin with. It was just really fun for me the whole time. Like I've just really enjoyed it, and I think that's when you kind of find something that's you don't have to think about it and it's enjoyable. I don't know. Seems like that's maybe a good sign you're doing the right thing, right? Okay, so I'm gonna get this base card in here. And what I am going to do is this base column needs to accept, all the base columns need to accept the tasks, the mapped task. So I'll say mapped task here, pass it in as a prop, and pass it in as a prop, go to the column, and I'll say mapped task. We just need the prop, and don't need a comma here, I don't believe. And map task is going to be a string type. Say, not import, but import. Say task type, excuse me, from there. It's going to be that. And we are going to map the task, or map the map task. So we'll map task, and for every task, these tasks are each going to be put into the base card. So I think I could just drop it in like this, and that should roughly work. Map task dot task, and I need to pass the task in. But what is going on? Map task dot map is not a function. Why? Why is that not a function? Type JSX element is not assignable to task type. Oh, I see, because it becomes this after. It's not. Okay, so it seems like an easy fix. I could just pull this, for the type. I thought it was going to be task type. My apologies. And I think that might work. Map does not exist on JSX element. Okay, so that sounds like I don't need to map it then. It sounds like I can just pass in the task here. And let me get rid of this. And I'll say all, and sorry guys, there's gonna be a lot of moving right now. Say all task, just for naming convention. And this should actually be a task type of an array. Let's say all task. And we're not mapping through map task anymore, we're mapping through all task, and that should work. So we have however many task components there are. Let me wrap this whole thing in a div so we can flex call it. Flex call. And I might do that trick here actually where I don't like to have my templates too fat, so I'll say const task cards. And we'll return this with some frags and pop that code in there. And I'll slap the task cards. Oh, not like that. It's actually an object. So just like that. And let's see, single task. So ignore this. We're now focused on this part. This is the piece where each task here is being passed into the task card. So if we just map the task and let me show you guys this real quick. If we map the task and say task dot ID, these are all of our tasks again. Base card 1, base card 2, base card 3. Those are the IDs from the actual task. And if we remember, if I can pull up the design, where is that thing? UI Zerd. Oh, not that. If we remember the design, that's kind of what we're shooting for, is these cards. Let me pop this open. Come on, baby. Maybe we'll have to log in. Nope, we're still on. We're still on, great. So these cards are what I'm trying to build, but I don't want to build and hard code each card in, because one, how do I know how many cards there's going to be? Like I might have 7 tasks for my profile, and then someone else might have 5 tasks or 50 tasks, right? So I can't hard code the task. They have to be data based, which is what this is kind of going for, of passing the data in to each column. And maybe we'll filter it, and maybe I won't pass the data in. Maybe in each column we'll just say, if this is the to-do column, pass it, like filter for the to-do task. So I don't know. There could be a lot of functionality here that we can think about, but basically, those are our tasks. Or excuse me, those are the cards that we're trying to construct, is these. And we're almost there. We have all the data coming, and I'll get the data on here, and then we'll go ahead and pop the card in. So today is episode 6, I think. It's pretty cool. Cruising right along. I'm not even thinking about stuff. I'm just like, just going. Like, we'll set up the linter in a sec. Maybe that'll be like episode 9 or something. But I'm just going. So let me pop task here in the base card. And the reason why we're getting an error again is because base card isn't receiving a task. Now it is. So, and I do want to import the type, task type. Make sure we're staying consistent with the type, and we'll say interface, say iProps, or I forget the convention we're sticking on, but iProps is fine for right now. And boom, so we've defined the type. And now I should be able to access all of these things. Task ID, right? And these are going to be our cards. So if I say div, class name, BG, Let's get that IntelliSense popping up. Background. Oh no, it was background primary, I think, right? Background primary. Save my2. So do you see how these are like their own cards now? Now I can say padding, rounded. We'll say XL for now. So they're their own cards with their own data, and we'll have to pull up the thing, but I can literally now kind of start working with all of the stuff here. So we have task name, all of this stuff, like that's going to be survey design, I guess will be the task name. We'll have like the priority, I suppose. So it'll be like task, I believe task priority, and it looks like the word is just hard coded here. Task priority, so low priority, medium priority, right? You see that? It says medium priority, high priority, all that stuff. So that's all we're building now, is just these like task cards, I guess. Let me kind of get the first thing done, which is going to be this top line. So we have a collaborate button, I guess, which strategy operations, I didn't consider that. I think we completely missed that, or I completely missed that on maybe like what type of task it is. Is it like a collaborative task or a strategy task? I have no idea what that button would do. So for now, I'm going to deprecate it, but we'll keep it. Actually, let's not just take the easy way out every corner. I'm trying to certainly do that when we can, but how about for that one, we're actually going to build it or consider it. So I need all these CSS properties. I'm just going to go ahead and ask ChatGPT, can you make this in Tailwind? Keep it easy for me. And I'll say this too. Because we are software engineers. I believe that's for the task name one, if I'm not mistaken. Class, it's class name. Okay, looks like we've got it in there. And the task ID is actually going to be, we're probably not going to show it to the users, but it'll be associated with each task. And the idea, how did they do it here? The idea is when we click it, now the task ID will be used, but it's not actually going to be shown to the users ever, more than likely. It's just going to be something that's, I'm going to kind of lighten this font up. We'll say light a little bit, just to lighten it up. Font light, font source sans pro. Text base, I have no idea what that is. Let's not keep it in there if we don't need it. Font thin, right? Something's keeping these texts pretty thick, but and what else do we need? What else do we need? We got the keys. I think we're gonna have a key issue up here. Realizing base card. Each one of these need a key. This one I almost do feel like we could use the task ID actually instead of the index. Probably be the most sensible. But in this case, each column is repeating the task, and we'll have to filter for that in a sec. So it's actually still throwing the same warning in the console. Not a big deal. Not a big deal at all. Warning each key client, base column. Okay, so we're getting these guys. Task store all task. Not sure why these are actually getting a key issue, because it should be fine, I think. So we'll ignore that for now. in software engineering fashion. Just go ahead and move on to the next thing that's kind of more important. So we have our tasks being shown here, and I'm pretty proud of us for getting this far. And I want to organize it so it looks more like this. We have kind of our task and then task assignees. It looks like there's some sort of icon, so I'll have to figure out how to do that. And then we have more icons over here. Not a big deal. So export icon, we'll just go ahead and do that now. The ellipse thing, and close this, close this. Do we have an assets folder? Where did we put these other icons? I thought we had constructed this already, but oh, you know what? I think that was for the plants application. Okay, so assets, I'm gonna go ahead and give it an icons thing, and then we're also gonna have what else in here? Maybe like fonts, or I'll say images, just to give us some space for now. How about JSON? Because I actually don't know how many images we have, but I do know we'll be using JSON, I'm sure, at some point. Oh, don't want to put too much of my business out there. Let me drag these into the icons folder. So we have comment and the ellipse icon. I didn't know that was the official name for it, to be honest. I always just called it 3 dots, but tomato, tomato, you know. Okay, so icons and base card. Let's go ahead and import ellipsis icon from assets icons ellipse icon. And it looks like that is going to be kind of at the bottom. And there's going to be another icon as well. And it's going to be the comment icon. Looks like so. Comment SVG is what we called it. So let's see if this works. Maybe crash this server. Didn't mean to crash the backend server, just the front end one. So we run dev, excuse me. But this is awesome. Like we have these card components now, and now I just need to filter them by the column. Ellipse icon SVG. We have this SVG issue. Assets/SVG. Importing these icons wrong. But we have these tasks literally in front of us, which is awesome. So when I filter them by this, and I'll add a few more tasks in different progress bars, we'll be able to kind of see the task Kanban board starting to piece together a little bit. So pretty cool, pretty exciting. Is it import image from Next? Is that what it is? Is that what I need to do? And then you say like height, I believe, 20, width 20, right? Oh, no, code with Mosh. Done that a few times. Great guy. Highly recommend. It's actually huge inspiration to what I'm doing altogether. I think that guy is fantastic. Okay, so how do I do this? Nuxt.js project. Okay. You can't import SVGs directly in Nuxt.js, so you need to handle them out of the box with create, like create React app does. If you try to run code without any additional configuration, you might run into compilation errors. So it is saying to do something like this, where I pop in the ellipse icon here, and steal the SVG, and SVG goes here, I suppose, I think is what it's kind of saying. And I think it just literally pops in like that is what it's trying to do. So let me do this, but I'm getting an error here. Okay, let's see. Using next images, I could do it there. In my brain, it should be that easy peasy, lemon squeezy, you know, but clearly there's something not happening in my brain. It's making sense. So let me SVG next images, using next images. Package which can also enable SVG imports. Okay, so let's try that. So if I install next images, and then if I go to next config, it's saying I need to do something like this. Calls this and then wrap my config like this, I think. I think that's what it's saying to do. Let's see. See how this works, folks. See if it plays out for them. All right, all right, all right, all right. So that didn't work either. Just go ahead and pop this in like this. See if that works. It's like we're loading. Compilation errors. Nope. So weird. So weird. I feel like it's such a simple thing. I'm gonna go ahead and say the word. It's some dumb thing, you know what I mean? The good news is this is slowly coming together. That's the great news. But I just don't feel like it should be any bit complicated to import SVGs. What I could do is make these PNGs. That's kind of the workaround, but seems like more work to do that. So I know I can get it done, right? But the idea is, how do we get it done as easily as possible? And that's all I want to do is just import these SVGs. So how can I import SVG? Saying install SVG loader, which I'm not sure I need to do or not. You can use tools like React SVG loader. Okay, we'll try. We'll try. We'll try. We will try. And then it says I don't need to do that. I just need to like actually just pop them in like this, I suppose. Let's see what happens. Let's see. Import ellipse icon. Could not find module. Okay, so that's not working. let's see. You guys can hear my dishwasher potentially. Okay, but I think overall, not a terrible episode. We got a lot done. It's always some dumb thing, I think, by the end of the episodes that's just maybe slowing me down a bit. Not because of Next. I'm not gonna keep doing that game. It's just me needing to learn how to use the subtleties of Next.js. Figure out the icons and the icon paths and all that stuff. But let me, I guess, before popping off to the next episode, I'm pretty stoked on this. Let's just organize this layout. So task ID is not going to be there. We're going to have survey design, it looks like, and some sort of medium. Looks like it's just a circle there for the priority. And I'm going to say text. We'll say small. Looks like it's a bit smaller. Get rid of that so I can see what I'm doing a little bit. So class width 4, height 4, background white, rounded full. Look at that. Got ourselves a little circle thing, little circle icon. Who needs SVGs now? Huh? No, we still need them, but let me put a little gap here. Gap x2, gap x1. That looks about right. And we'll have flex call. I want this all in column format at all times. So gap y-2, give them a little bit of space between each other. And we'll have our task name, and it looks like we'll also have that, not task name, but it'll be like task category, I think. So really crunched together. But that button is what I'm kind of building right now. So maybe I can import base button. It's not really a button, it's more of a badge, I guess. I would say it's less of a button, more of a badge. So maybe I'll build a custom component for the badge if we need to. I don't know, unless it's a button, right? But it seems like it would actually be more of a badge that just kind of sits there. So I'll just hard code collaborate for now on the badge, and we'll say text small, flex, item center, justify center, rounded looks like maybe a solid, I don't know, 54 pixels exact, right? I would crack up if that was actually perfect. And we'll say font then, px, maybe 3, py2. Look, we got ourselves a little collaborate badge. So there's that, and I need that to actually be a little bit shorter than what it currently is. Looks like there's maybe too much gap between these items. And instead of priority, we also have, what is this one? The icons. Task assignee. And looks like there's a bit more margin here. So I'm going to default it to name for now. So we just have something there. Again, that's going to be a circle icon, but again, we're getting these things put together. You know what I mean? I think that's the important part of this, is just chipping away at that progress and seeing it come to life. And if we can get those icons over there, would be awesome. I forget what the goal from last episode was. I know this was one of them, was to to get the things working. This is actually where the ellipse would go. Excuse me, but to get the, this is where the comment icon would go. But to get the, what's it called? The cards kind of built out was a huge goal, and we crushed it. Like these are actual tasks from the backend. So if we go to the server, these are all of our, where's the data? Boom, right here. Task data, we have all of this stuff, and I can build more tasks. And we need to assign them to the category or deal with the task status, I think, for one of these. So if I go ahead and say, we'll say new task. I'll say clean repo for this one, right? Let me fix bug, fix bug comments or something, right? Oh, you know what I could actually do is just start writing our task here, which would be kind of funny. So yeah, let me do that. So fix icon issue. I love it. I think this is great. Clean repo, and we'll implement clerk. I think on the next one, right? Or it'll be one of our tasks. It'll be one of our tasks that we need to do. So we have fix bug 102, fix icon issue. What's fix bug 102? Don't really need it. Clean up repo. We kind of don't need it, but we need to deal with the task filtering. So filter task status, right? Filter columns, right? Or task assign task to columns. So these are our actual tasks to do, which is ironical. Let me save this. So these should pop up. I don't know why they're not. That's so funny. That's actually really awesome to see because now it's useful. It's like it's literally what the task thing's used for. So we're documenting the tasks that need to be done, I think, from this point forward, and maybe we can kind of keep track of all of our tasks here, so I don't need to necessarily go back to the doc all the time. But that's kind of cool. We're seeing it come to life. You know, this is pretty cool stuff. I'm pretty stoked, and I realized we didn't put task assignees to these, so maybe that'll be a task to do down the road. There's still plenty to do. You know, make this scrollable, filter these tasks. You know, when I click on it, I need to see kind of the task pop up as a modal and have a description. I need to be able to add tasks. So that's an endpoint we'll need to build. I'll need to link up a database. So there's still plenty of work. And this is just the Kanban page. And then I need to make them draggable. Like there's a lot of work just to do on just the Kanban page alone. But I'm stoked. I think this is like actually really cool to see that there's tasks here that we need to do, and it's from something we built. So kind of cool. I'm a fan. I like it. I think if I had to task priority these, I would say assign task to columns. That'll be probably the higher priority. I would like to see that one done first out of these, so we can kind of, you know, actually track them along and say in progress, done, to do, all that stuff. I think that would be really cool. So fix the icon issue, lower priority, clean up repo. That's just kind of an extra task. We'll always be cleaning up the repo. But with that being said, folks, I think that's actually a really great end. So let me, we'll go ahead and commit this. Task card implemented. And maybe I'll add a function, you know, in Jira, how there's like task 101 or like task 202 or like task 1 or like 652 according to the sprint you're in and stuff. Maybe I'll actually implement something like that where it just kind of auto generates an ID to the task, and that is the task ID. I don't know. There's a lot we could do. So very excited though. Very excited. But thank you so much again for chiming in. And let's see, make sure we're still working here. We are. Great. Gosh, so cool to see. I'm genuine. Like, that's the stuff. That's why I love this. This is what makes me love software, is like literally, I don't know, like we built this. We like literally, and it's, sorry, I could nerd out on it for 5-10 minutes, but pretty cool to see it come to life. And I'm really excited to record the next episode and see this thing keep unfolding. So altogether though, thank you guys so much for watching. I'm going to wrap it up here. Again, check out the description if you're curious on the software engineering program. I have a few modules uploaded to it, and again, I'm curating that, and feel free to comment and stuff. I have one buddy also taking the course, and he's kind of like, hey, can you add this, and I have no problem to add stuff or talk about things, or to learn and implement stuff into that program. And hopefully as time and the months kind of roll on, I want to have new programs and like HTML courses, CSS courses, JavaScript courses. This kind of first course is just going to be more of that like middle like level course. Like I think the ideal candidate is going to be my buddy who he's built software before, so he's not like new to this. Like he's built some really cool stuff and some really powerful things as well that I know are like, I've asked him questions on, like, how did you do that? How did you do this? And I think the course is perfect for someone like that who he wants to get into the software engineering space as a developer for a company, and he just needs like a little bit more of that gas on his fire to get him over the edge. And that's kind of what this first initial course is about, is teaching what I know from my experience of just working with other companies or other people for pay, and just giving that knowledge to y'all. That's the whole goal of it. Where and if that's kind of you as someone who's like, yeah, like I've built some software, I've built a few applications, but I need just that push to get to that final, or not final, but to that next threshold of things. That's kind of what I'm trying to build the course around. So if that's you, I think it's a great course. And if it's not you, I'd still recommend looking into it at least, or at least just keep following the episode series, because there's a lot of knowledge being offloaded here as well. And it's free, which is great. If it's for free, it's for me. And the goal too down the road is I want to get even better at teaching and better at building these courses, because I do want to have programs where it is like just HTML. Like let's just go over HTML and CSS and just web development as a whole, and kind of what I've learned in software engineering, or TypeScript, or how version control works, or how to Dockerize things and build backends or front ends, and what is server-side rendering versus client-side, like all these other questions. So a lot is hopefully coming down the pipeline. I'm just going to keep up with the momentum, but to hop off, thank you guys so much for watching this far and seeing the progress. And gosh, this is cool to see. This is cool to see for me. So I'm excited to record the next episode. But for now, thank you so much. Bye guys, take care.